All right, I'm here again, 30 for 30, celebrating 30 years of youth advocacy work, working in the community, working with young people, working with families. And I'm having a conversation today with Kaylin Echoes. But you know what? I'm going to let her introduce herself. Tell us your name and just where we met at, if you don't mind.
Yes, so my name is Kaylin, as you stated. And we met through CYC. I attended CYC. I was in the program in elementary school up until high school. And I you offered me my first opportunity for a job at CYC, and I believe the Peacemakers program that you did. And so that was my first time working for you. And yeah.
Okay. Do you remember when that was? I'm bad with time, so I cannot necessarily remember. You say a peacemaker. Let's back up because you went to CYC as a young person. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't think I was working there. I don't think I'm that old, so I wasn't working there back then. But
Yeah.
then by the time I came around, were you still a student there, or were you in college? Where were you at in your life?
Um, yeah, so yeah, you weren't there at the time when I was attending CYC. Um, I I think I stopped attending like the beginning of my high school year or
Oh,
eighth
okay.
grade year. And then the Peacemakers program was the summer going into my senior year of high school. So that was a while ago, yeah.
Wow, yeah, that is a while ago.
Like 2018, 2019.
Okay, that sounds about right. That sounds about around my tenure. Now, tell everybody what the Peacemakers program was.
Yes, so the Peacemakers program was it was a team program. And me and other teams worked on coming up with ideas to like promote peace in the community.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of discussions. We watched a lot of like videos like centered really around like peace and like working with the community, and that is what we did. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the Peacemakers program 2018, that sounds right. Now it's 2025. So by your calculation, that's 7 years of collaboration. So I know that you also work with After School Matters, is that right? And I think Peacemakers was After School Matters program.
Yeah, it
And
was.
then after that, I think we worked with My Shot, My Future, which was
Hmm.
uh, a city initiative to help young people figure out ways to create safe spaces for other teens. Last
Hmm.
time you was in college, right?
Yeah, that was the summer going into my sophomore year of college. Yeah.
Okay, okay. That was an interesting program, I must say. We had some interesting characters there. We're not going to get into that. We want to keep this brief and keep this
Hmm.
positive because sometimes working with young people is challenging for me. Even I'll be like, these kids getting on my nerves. But Kaylin was never like that. She was always actually very quiet, young individual. I'm not sure how we connected so well because she was very kind of to herself. How did we end up becoming lifelong buddies, if you will? How did that happen?
I think it was really during the Peacemakers program. And I think because, my cousins also went to CYC and lived, in the neighborhood. And so I think because you were also familiar with my family,
That's true.
that kind of was how we connected more so. Um, yeah, and then you just again got to know me more through being in the program. Yeah.
So I can think about, I think Peacemakers, you also was working with us when Ricky was the supervisor, correct?
I
Ricky,
think so.
but definitely when Jason Ward was over, right?
Hmm.
Okay, and then My Shot, My Future. And then, as you know, I do some storytelling and comedy and events. And Mrs. Eccles also helped me there to her. I call her the giggle girl. She got another little buddy that I work with, and they get to giggling. And oh my goodness, like they can't stop giggling. But I'll be like, for me to say what's so funny while y'all giggling, it's like adding gasoline on the fire. They're just gonna start giggling even more. So she has been a very positive and uplifting young lady, and it's been a pleasure to work with her. So what are you doing now, Kaylin? What's up with you now?
Yes, so I am still in college. I um I'm in my fifth year, so I should have technically, graduated last year because I graduated high school in 2020. That would have made 4 years. But my last year of college, I chose to take fewer classes each semester, which is why I'm doing another year. Um, but yes, I'm in school for public health.
Hmm.
And yeah, this is my last year. I'll be finished with in the summer. So I'm finishing up my like electives, last classes, and am trying to prepare to do an internship this summer before I start working in the field. Um, so yeah, that's where I've currently been.
Okay. And what school you at?
I go to ISU, Illinois State University.
All right. That's right. So if anybody listening to this, we is gonna post this. If you're looking for an intern, I know a lady who work at Rush too, so we need to talk about that on the side. Actually, I introduced her to your cousin who said he wanted to work at Rush. I don't know if he followed up with her or not, but
Yeah, I interned at Rush 2 years ago.
also you've had a couple of interns before.
Hmm.
Public health. What does that entail? What does that look like?
So public health, a lot of people don't realize that public health has to do with everything. Everything involves public health. Um,
Hmm.
Public health is really focused around prevention and like promoting health. So public health
Hmm.
involves, again, like I said, everything, whether it be workplace, whether it be, mindfulness, whether it be mental health, whether it be nutrition, policy,
Hmm.
marketing. Public health is in everything. And so it's very broad. And it also involves like epidemiology, which is has to do with like kind of the study of disease and like
Hmm.
following disease trends. But yeah, and so I think I've always been interested in health, which is why I mentioned I did intern at Rush before. They had a college program, and then they also had a high school program that I did. And I initially actually wanted to do nursing.
Right.
Um,
I think I remember that.
when before like coming to school, especially because I don't know if you know about the Young Doctors program in North Lawndale.
No, I don't.
That program was around when I was in like elementary school, and
Hmm.
it was UIC medical students would teach us like some of the stuff they were learning, and we would do a what do you call it, a a health fair at the
Okay.
like the church that's in kind of by the Green Tomato Cafe and like
Yeah.
the yeah. And so starting around that time, like it pushed me more in the field of health. And
Okay.
but as I kind of been in like throughout college, though I'm interested still in like the clinical aspect of health, I believe that being involved with my community
Hmm.
and just having like the passion to help people
Hmm.
has pushed me more into the public health side. So not just the clinical side, because again, public health is really in everything and not just about medicine, but is about serving communities and
Okay.
blessing the needs of people.
All right. I didn't know that you had been involved in doing that kind of work for that long because you said you was involved in the Young Doctors program in North Lawndale back when you say in elementary.
Yeah, I started in elementary, like
Okay.
fifth grade, maybe,
Okay. All
till
right.
my last year of high school.
All right. Now let me ask you this. So our interaction, is there any part of our interaction that you can look back on or a story you would like to tell or something that was influential through our interaction?
Um, I'd say, yeah, a few. And well, when you say like influential, just like in general, or just like specifically in like where like I'm at. Mm.
Well, kind of where you at, or to you personally, or like, well, this encouraged me, or this really gave me the whatever, you know.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say I think the most influential times was during the 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 program the that we did in the summer for like the creating the events.
Yeah,
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 that during that time, and prior to me starting that, um, I, appreciated the fact that you reached out to provide me the opportunity. And working there, I and because we were also like involved with CYC a bit and like with
right.
the youth there and then also in the community. It I appreciate that because again, it helped me to be more involved with the community,
Hmm.
even down to the little things like when we went to pass out flyers and spread the word, and we would like ourselves go around and do that. And so that also helped um, me to be more like acquainted with the community members. So like, building that civil engagement and just also, as you said, earlier, it's not always easy working with younger people. And um, those of us like who were like working for the program, we were different ages. Like some of us were, majority of us are like 20s up, but there were also like younger people in
Yeah,
high school. And then again with, the children who were a part of CYC's program. And so learning how to again like um work with different ages of people and people from
mhm,
different backgrounds. And
mhm.
I believe we had like within like the program we had to brainstorm a lot,
Yeah,
because we
yeah,
were coming up with events and ideas and how we were going to do this, do that, or reach out to so and so. And so we had to like come up with a lot of different ideas and um improvise sometimes. And there were bumps in the road a lot of the
yeah.
time,
The
and so we
bumps.
had to learn how to like push through that and just like keep the teamwork strong. And so that i I feel like I learned a lot from that. um and so I feel like every opportunity basically that you've given me has just helped me because I've like learned a lot throughout the way. And I love the fact that we're able to like keep in contact and reach out. And yeah.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So now you are just months away from graduating, working in public health. Um, seem very community oriented. Not only your job, but your understanding of your job. So it sounds like that's going to be an asset for us, for the community to have somebody like you work with us. You talked about mental health as a lot of stuff, not just preventative stuff, but also um, medical stuff. So even health, even mental health is a part of the public health. All right. So
Mhm.
where do you see yourself? Where are you going with this? What's up? What's your plan?
Yes, so as I mentioned earlier, and I am in the process of getting like hands-on experience, which is why I'm doing the internship. Um,
Right.
and it is a requirement, like we call it my school, like within my major professional practice. So this is just a chance for us to really like get that experience and learn before we officially start working.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and v- which is also why I mentioned earlier too, I prior, to this requirement and me graduating, I was interested in interning at Rush to get experience of what it was like because again, I'm still like love the clinical and like the medicine side of
Mm-hmm.
health.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to get an experience of what it's like working in a hospital and like different, you know, environments where, health is centered. So I'm really hoping that I'm still, in the process of my internship stuff and networking. And so I'm just hoping that where I will be interning this summer, that I will gain a lot more experience and it will give me like more clarity on, exactly in like where, I want to be, because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
so broad.
Okay, okay. Where do you already have internships lined up for the summer?
Still waiting to hear back from some places. I've been and more so doing a lot of networking. I actually just talked with someone yesterday. She's a public health educator at Cook County.
Hmm.
She's been working there for 23 years. And so we had a great conversation yesterday, just about public health, you know, the process, her story, where I plan moving forward. And so I received a lot of insight, and I feel like every day I've been, receiving a lot of insight and support to really get me to, where I want to be.
That's great. It's so good to catch up with you. I didn't know we had known each other for quite that long, but that's good. That's good. In closing, is there anything that you would think about telling your younger self now that you've been through college for the most part, you made it through your adolescence? Because you are, how old are you?
I'm about to be 23 in May.
23. Okay. Is there anything that you would like that you lessons you've learned that you'd like to tell yourself, or if you could go back and whisper something in the little 17-year-old Caitlin's ear, what would you say?
I would probably tell myself that everything happens for a reason.
Mm,
Sometimes plans may change and things may not go according. But sometimes, it may be for something better. And so to really not let change or shifts disappoint me, but to keep going and appreciate every person I may come across in life and every opportunity and moment. I think that's what I tell myself.
well, that sounds like a good one. Well, listen, thank you for doing this. I'm sorry I was late, audience. If you know anybody looking for somebody to work in public health, you willing to relocate if they say, well, you got to come all the way
Yeah,
to Detroit or something, you ready?
I possibly, but I think
Okay, possibly.
my heart is really for Chicago though.
Okay, okay. We want to stick it in the shot. We want to stay in the shot. So thank you for doing this for me, Caitlin. It is so good to see that you are still moving forward and advancing what I expected nothing less. I'm sure that you were always one of those people that seemed like it was just needed that time and that momentum was already there. So it's good to see you growing. All right.
Thank-
Thanks.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm gonna stop this.